Mukangabe Specios is a resident of Nduwa sector in Kigali City. She never had the opportunity to go to school. She didn't know how to read and write. She says this was a challenge for her. If I'd gone to school, I'd be able to read various things for myself, like demarcations for finding where I'm going, instead of asking people for directions. Even though she didn't get a chance to go to school, she wakes up at 5:30 a.m. in the morning to take her grandchild to school every day. I prepare him for school, and by 6 a.m. I take them to school. Sometimes when they are slow, I carry them on my back so we can get to school on time. She says she does this because she believes it will enable their grandchild to contribute to society. Based on how the leaders helped me to get treatment for him, I feel like he could be one of the future leaders too, so that he can help other people as well and tell other people of how his grandma strived to give him an education she never got the chance to have. 47-year-old Nyaminani Claude is a resident of Rulindo who is also illiterate.
It's mostly because our parents back then didn't prioritize education, and that's why I got to an older age without knowing how to read or write.
He urges all illiterate people to strive and learn how to read and write, and especially not deprive their children of the education because it's now accessible.
Just because I didn't have a chance to go to school doesn't mean my children should be deprived of education as well. Perhaps when I am older, my children will teach me how to read and write because I took them to school.
Both the literate and illiterate people acknowledge the government's efforts to reduce the number of illiterate people in the country.
I thank the government for its efforts in encouraging residents to learn how to read and write.
The government has put tremendous efforts. We also see various churches calling upon people on Sunday to utilize these programs for adult literacy centers. Education experts say that having a large number of educated people to some extent contributes to the development of the country in general and to the well-being of the people, as explained by Dr. Jean-Francois Munyakayanza, an expert in education.
When an investor comes into the country, they will prefer literate people. The government puts in place programs, but the residents sometimes might not follow up on these programs. I believe the development we have is mostly attributed to the residents being literate. When the government puts in place these programs, residents should utilize them to develop themselves and ultimately developing the country.
The Ministry of Education indicates that the government's achievements so far have been establishing adult literacy centers, designing manuals for use, training teachers in these centers, and giving incentives to the teachers in these adult literacy centers. The ministry also urges adults to utilize these adult literacy centers as well as send their children to school and not deprive them of the access to education. The demographic and health survey shows that the number of illiterate women between the ages of 15 and 49 has dropped from 12% in 2015 to 9% in 2021, while the number of illiterate men has dropped from 9% to 7%. The study also found that women that have finished high school and university accounted for 29% of urban areas in the city of Kigali, with the southern province having the lowest percentage of 8% and the north and western province accounting for 9%. Gloria Mutesi reporting for RTV News.